Liam Neeson walked onto the stage with a kind of presence that immediately made the crowd rise to their feet and cheer, his tall figure looming over the set as Jimmy Kimmel smiled wide at his desk. Waving his hand like he had been waiting all week for this exact moment, Jimmy said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Liam Neeson, the man who could scare an entire army just by picking up the phone," and the audience laughed as Liam sat down. Giving a small polite nod, the applause slowly dying down, Jimmy leaned forward with that classic grin and said, "Now Liam, we all know you as the guy with a particular set of skills, but do you ever get tired of people quoting taken at you?" Liam raised an eyebrow and smirked, his deep Irish voice rolling out. "I hear it every single day, Jimmy, people on the street, people in restaurants, even my cab driver this morning whispered it under his breath like he was testing me, so yes, it can get a little tiresome." Jimmy chuckled, leaning back. "So what do you do when someone says it to you? Do you threaten them back? Or do you just smile and say thank you?" Liam gave a serious look that made the room quiet for a moment. "Sometimes I tell them to stop. Other times, if they push it, I tell them to F*** off." The crowd gasped and laughed nervously. Jimmy raised his eyebrows with a mock-surprised face. "Wow, straight to F*** off, huh? That's a little harsh, don't you think?" Liam leaned forward, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Jimmy, you asked the question. I gave you the truth. People think it's fun to treat me like a character I played years ago. But I'm a man, not just some Hollywood line." The tension rippled through the audience. Jimmy tried to break it with a laugh. Okay, fair enough, but if I say it right now, what would you do?" Liam didn't blink, his voice sharp. "I'd say, F*** off, Jimmy." The crowd erupted with laughter, half from shock and half from excitement, but Jimmy's face froze in that half-smile where you can't quite tell if he's offended or just playing along. He tapped his desk. "Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Liam Neeson just told me to F*** off on national television." Liam crossed his arms and gave a small nod like it was nothing. Jimmy leaned in again. "But seriously, does it bother you because people reduce your whole career to just one movie?" Liam sighed. "Exactly. I've spent decades in film. I've done dramas, historical pieces, even comedies. And yet, people want me to growl one line into their phone for a laugh. Imagine working your entire life and having it summed up by a meme. That's what it feels like." The room got quieter, the crowd listening more seriously now. Jimmy nodded. "That's fair, I get that. But isn't it also a sign that the role became iconic? Like, your line is basically in pop culture forever. That's a compliment, isn't it?" Liam gave him a long look. "A compliment is fine once. Twice. Maybe even 10 times. But after 15 years, it becomes mockery. And when you laugh at me for pushing back, that's not respect, Jimmy." The air shifted, Jimmy adjusted his tie and tried to lighten the mood. All right, let's not start a war here, we're friends, right?" Liam smiled faintly, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Friends don't poke at scars, Jimmy." The audience murmured at that, unsure whether to laugh or clap. Jimmy decided to switch tracks. "Okay, let me ask you this. Is there a role you're proudest of, something you wish people would quote instead of taken?" Liam thought for a moment, his voice softer now. "Michael Collins. A role that meant something to me, to my country. But you don't hear people quoting that. They don't walk up to me saying lines about freedom and sacrifice. They just want the phone speech. So yes, sometimes I lose my patience." Jimmy nodded, pretending to take notes on his card. "Got it, don't ask Liam to say the line, or else he'll tell you to." He paused dramatically. F*** off. The audience laughed again, but Liam didn't crack a smile this time, which made it even funnier to some people but also awkward. Jimmy then said, "Look, I'll be honest, we're kind of used to actors playing along on this show, you know, giving the audience a little fan service. But you're saying you don't want to be that guy." Liam leaned forward, his tone sharp again. "I'm saying I don't want to be a puppet. If you want jokes, fine, but if you want me to stand here and repeat myself like a circus act, then you've got the wrong man." The crowd oohed at that, sensing the rising conflict. Jimmy quickly raised his hands in mock surrender. Okay, I get it, you're not here to be a meme. You're here to be, what, respected? Taken seriously." Liam's jaw tightened. "That's exactly it." Jimmy paused, clearly calculating how to move the conversation forward without letting it spiral. He then said, "Well, Liam, I do respect you. And I think the audience does too. But you have to admit, you calling me out like that on my own show, that's a bold move." Liam smirked slightly. maybe someone needs to tell you when you cross the line. Jimmy sat back, tapping his pen. Well, I guess we're in for an interesting night. The crowd clapped, half amused and half uncomfortable, as the band played a small sting to lighten the mood, but the tension on stage was far from over. Jimmy leaned in again with a grin that seemed just a little forced. So Liam Neeson, ladies and gentlemen, the only guest brave enough to tell me to F*** off within the first 10 minutes of the show. The camera panned across the crowd who were cheering and laughing nervously, but the way Liam stared at Jimmy made it clear this wasn't just a passing joke, it was the start of something much bigger brewing right there in the studio. The show returned from a commercial break and the audience clapped with that forced enthusiasm the producers always encouraged, but the air in the room still had that edge from the first segment. Jimmy leaned forward with a practiced grin. We're back with Liam Neeson, who has already broken records tonight by being the first guest to tell me to F*** off. And the crowd laughed again, though it felt more like nervous laughter than genuine amusement. Liam smiled faintly, but his eyes were fixed on Jimmy like he was measuring every word. Jimmy tried to steer the mood lighter. Okay Liam, let's try something fun. You've played so many serious characters. Wouldn't it be refreshing to show people a sillier side of you? Liam cocked his head. Silly side? Jimmy, I didn't come here to juggle or tell knock-knock jokes. I came here to talk man to man. Jimmy raised his eyebrows like he wasn't sure if Liam was joking. Well, that's usually what we do here, Liam, but you've got to admit, you're coming across a little intense. This is late-night TV. People are supposed to laugh. Liam leaned forward, his voice low but carrying. People can laugh without it being at my expense. The crowd let out an awkward "oh." Jimmy drummed his fingers on the desk, clearly irritated but trying not to show it. At your expense? Come on, you know we all love you here. No one's mocking you. Liam didn't flinch. When you drag me into repeating a line for laughs, when you box my entire career into one scene, that's mockery in disguise, Jimmy. The audience was silent now, unsure whether this was rehearsed drama or genuine conflict. Jimmy smirked a little too hard. So what do you want, Liam, for everyone to bow down and treat you like Shakespeare? Liam's jaw tightened as he said, I want respect, not ridicule. The way he said it made the tension climb higher. Jimmy leaned back in his chair and gave the camera a look, half joking, half exasperated. Well, this has got to be the most uncomfortable interview I've done all year. And the crowd laughed, but it didn't break the weight in the room. Liam kept his gaze steady. Sometimes discomfort is what tells you the truth, he said, his words hanging in the air like a challenge. Jimmy tilted his head. So you're saying the truth is I don't respect you? Liam answered without hesitation. Not when you reduce me to a catchphrase. The audience gasped at the bluntness. Jimmy let out a sharp laugh. Wow, okay, so you're basically calling me out on my own stage in front of millions of people. Is that the plan? Liam gave a small shrug. If that's what it takes for you to listen. The room buzzed with nervous energy. Jimmy adjusted his jacket and said, All right, fine, then tell me, what should I ask you about? What story do you want to tell that isn't about Taken? Let's hear it. Liam leaned back now, almost relaxed. Ask me about my childhood in Ballymena, about losing my mother, about the plays that shaped me, about carrying the weight of history when I played Oscar Schindler. Ask me about the roles that mean something, not the ones that became memes. The audience applauded lightly, some clapping harder as if to back him up. Jimmy forced a smile. Okay, that's fair, let's talk about Schindler's List. But you have to admit, people watching at home, they like the fun stuff, the pop culture references, the light-hearted moments. Liam cut him off sharply. Light-hearted moments don't have to mean cheapening someone's life's work. The audience gasped again, and Jimmy blinked at him, visibly frustrated now. You know what, Liam, maybe you're taking this whole thing a little too seriously. It's a comedy show, not a courtroom. Liam shot back, and maybe you hide behind comedy because you're afraid of having a real conversation. That line landed heavy. The crowd groaned and clapped at the same time, half of them thrilled by the drama and the other half uncomfortable. Jimmy's smile faltered for the first time, his eyes narrowing. You're accusing me of being afraid? On my own show. Liam simply nodded, yes. The silence that followed was thick, even the band shifted uncomfortably. Jimmy let out a short laugh, but there was no warmth in it. Well folks, I think tonight's going to be one for the history books, he said, leaning back as the camera cut wide to capture both men. Liam sitting calm and steady, Jimmy clearly unsettled, the atmosphere charged and ready to boil over. The tension carried into the final segment as the lights dimmed slightly and the band played them back from commercial. The crowd clapped like they weren't sure whether they were cheering for entertainment or just trying to cut the awkwardness. Jimmy leaned forward with that professional smile plastered on his face, but his voice had an edge. We're back with Liam Neeson, who has turned my comedy show into a therapy session," and the crowd laughed nervously. Liam didn't move, his voice steady as stone. "Maybe therapy is what you need, Jimmy," the audience gasped and some clapped. Jimmy's smile cracked. "All right, Liam, you're pushing it now," but Liam stayed calm. "No, you pushed it the moment you thought it was funny to drag me back to one line for cheap laughs." Jimmy tapped his pen against the desk, visibly irritated but trying to keep it in the realm of showmanship. "You know, most guests come here and play along," they laugh. "The audience laughs, it's fun, that's the point. But you want to lecture me." Liam leaned forward slightly, his voice dropping lower. "I want you to understand that respect is not optional, even here, even on your stage." The audience clapped louder now, some people even standing, sensing the raw drama unfolding. Jimmy shook his head and laughed without humor. "This is unbelievable. You've hijacked my own show to make me look like the bad guy," Liam smirked, "if the shoe fits." And the audience roared with laughter and gasps. Jimmy stood up slightly in mock offense. "Oh. So now you're the tough guy, huh? Just like in the movies?" And Liam didn't blink, his voice booming with that unmistakable gravitas. "I'm not acting, Jimmy, and that's the difference." The entire studio fell silent for a beat, the kind of silence that vibrates. Jimmy exhaled sharply and sat back down, shaking his head. "You know what? I'll give you this, Liam, you've managed to make this the most talked about episode we've ever done." Liam nodded, calm again. "Then maybe people will remember me for more than just one line." Jimmy gave a slow nod, half conceding, half still annoyed. "Fine, you win, no more taken jokes, no more catchphrases. We'll give you the dignity you deserve, but you've got to admit, you telling me to F*** off, that's what people are going to talk about." The crowd burst out laughing and clapping. Liam smirked for the first time. "Then maybe that's the line they can repeat for the next 15 years. The laughter turned into cheers. The band hit a triumphant sting. Jimmy shook his head but laughed genuinely this time. "You're impossible, you know that?" Liam leaned back. "No, I'm just honest." The crowd applauded wildly, some chanting his name. Jimmy finally let the tension dissolve with a smile. "Well, Liam Neeson, ladies and gentlemen, the man who came here, called me out, told me to F*** off, and somehow walked away looking like the hero." The audience cheered louder. Liam gave a small bow of the head, and as the camera zoomed out, Jimmy added with that sly tone, "And I have a feeling this clip is going viral before we even leave the building." The crowd exploded in laughter and claps. The music swelled, and the show closed on a freeze frame of Liam's steady gaze and Jimmy's forced but genuine laugh, sealing the episode as one of the most unforgettable in the show's history.